Alright, welcome back. Apologies for last week, was sick. So, let's continue where we were. While staring off into the stream, I somehow got separated from Rena. It wasn't very lonely though. I know this place now. This is where I live, my home. Probably better if I just stay here instead of wandering around aimlessly. Someone would surely find me while I was enjoying the evening breeze. I heard a familiar voice. It was Tomitake-san. I headed towards it. How'd it go, Tomitake-san? Were you able to get some good shots? Yeah, fortunately. Tomitake-san was with a girl. I felt a little like I was intruding. How was it, Keiichi-kun? Did you enjoy the festival? From the way she spoke, it seemed like she was a resident of Hinamizawa. I really should try harder to remember people's faces here. What was her name? Well, it was fun. My face must have given away how desperately I was trying to remember her name, because she gave a lighthearted chuckle. It's probably because it hasn't been long since you moved here. It's pretty hard to believe, seeing how friendly you've gotten with the other kids. That's how it looked. It was probably all thanks to Rina and Mion. Perhaps you feel more like a resident of Hinamizawa after taking part in the festival today? I wonder about that. Well, that's not like you. I had tried to get used to Hinamizawa, but there were still plenty of things I didn't know. The faces of people I'd met, for example. Things that had happened in the past as well. Oh. You're feeling left out because of something like that? Not so much as feeling left out. I'm not sure how to say it. That incident at the dam construction site. Fighting over it and the other conflicts. That terrible incident they pretended they didn't even know about whenever I brought it up. Even though it was in the past, someone living in Hinamizawa, it wasn't wrong to want to know about both the good and bad that had happened here. If it will put you at ease, then I'll tell you everything I know. Tomitake-san's smile made me more relieved than I'd ever been. It was hard to think of what to ask when someone said, "Ask me anything." Even when there was so much I wanted to ask. Could you tell me about what happened when the dam was being constructed? There was a big incident where Hinamizawa was going to be submerged, right? I think the locals would be more knowledgeable about the dam than I am. Well, if you don't mind, I'll tell you what I know. It's only what I read in the newspaper, though. Tomitake-san's eyes entered an unfocused gaze as he searched through his memory, and he spoke. The decision to start the dam project was finalized 7 or 8 years ago. I heard it was the next major project after Korobe. There were 3 major issues in Japan at that time. Improving inter-island transportation infrastructure, meeting the higher demand for electricity, and flood control. There was a boom of dam building due to the massive economic stimulus they provided on top of generating electricity and flood control. Hinamizawa had the right conditions to support dam construction, so it was singled out. The dam reservoir would have covered quite a lot of ground when it was completed. The entire area right up to Yagoichi, way upstream, would be underwater. But why did they have to pick a populated area like Hinamizawa? Couldn't they have instead picked a place where nobody lived? I'm not really sure why, but I heard that it was just the right terrain for building a dam. Of course, there were protests here in Hinamizawa. Rika-chan had said there was a battle. From that choice of words, I had to guess things had turned violent. There was a trial, and it was even brought up before the national diet. It was covered in the Tokyo newspapers too. Mina told me all about that as well. I'm sure every resident of Hinamizawa had united to fight together. The feeling of solidarity found here, which could not be expressed properly with mere words. Whoop. Accidentally clicked. Hold on. The feeling of solidarity found here, which could not be expressed properly with mere words, was likely brought about by that battle. As a result, bribery and scandals were brought to light. As things got more and more complicated, they eventually halted construction. If I wanted to know, now was my only chance to ask. It was certainly a bizarre incident that boys my age would be curious about. I felt a little shame from the fact that I was petty enough. I misread that completely. I'll start over from the beginning here. I felt a little shame from the fact I was petty enough to have my curiosity piqued by Rina and Mion's refusal to talk about the event. But I figured I might as well ask since I had the chance, just so I would stop thinking about it so much. There was a dismemberment, right? There was. I happened to be here in Hinamizawa at the time, so I remember it well. Tomitake-san's answer was nonchalant in contrast to my hesitantly forced out question. It was about this time 4 years ago. It was the day of the Watanagashi, if I recall correctly. Debate on whether to continue construction on the dam was in disarray. Scandal after scandal rocked the project near the end. The incident that was the final nail in the coffin for the dam project. The fight at the dam construction site ended in a victim being murdered. Fearing prosecutions, the 6 assailants divided the remains into 6 pieces and hid each one. 5 of the 6 criminals turned themselves in out of guilt, while 1 was still on the run. The right arm he'd hidden had yet to be found. Major details lined up with what was in the tabloid I read earlier. It certainly was a tragic incident. But it wasn't so terrible that Rina and Mion needed to hide it from me. I guess they didn't want someone who just moved here to have a negative impression of Hinamizawa. I felt grateful for having friends who worried so much about me, as well as shame for still being so interested in it. It was near the end of all the trouble with the dam, you see. So everyone was saying that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. Oyashiro-sama's curse, huh? Oyashiro-sama was the name of the god at the shrine that held the festival today, if I recall correctly. I see. Their guardian deity rained divine punishment down on the evil dam construction for trying to flood Hinamizawa. Apparently the younger ones didn't think so. But it seems the elderly in the village never doubted that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman with Tomitake-san said with mischievous chuckle. Tomitake-san began laughing with her. It was so infectious I ended up laughing as well. But I wonder about now. There are quite a few, I think. Amongst the youth too. A few what? People who believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman's lips were still curled into a smile, but her expression turned stern. And after that, continued every year. Always around this time. Continued. Tomitake-san paused for a second as if to build up some suspense, and he whispered to me as if someone might have been listening. Every year, on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody dies. The year following the dismemberment, on the day of the Watanagashi, a man from Hinamizawa who had supported the dam fell off a cliff overlooking some rapids and died while he was on vacation. Unfortunately for his wife, the body was never recovered. He supported the dam construction even though he lived in Hinamizawa. At the time, there were whispers amongst the elderly saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman chuckled mischievously again. Then the next year, the night of the Watanagashi, a shrine Shinto priest died suddenly from an unknown illness. His wife drowned herself in the bog that night. The shrine Shinto priest? You mean he was from the shrine here? The woman nodded. There was a rumor amongst the villagers that they weren't able to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger. And the year after that, again on the night of the Watanagashi, they discovered the battered body of a local housewife. Up until now, all these mysterious deaths were people involved with the dam or who had connections with Oyashiro-sama. With that in mind, could the housewife have been involved in some way too? Exactly. The woman stated slyly. No, it was more menacing though. One of the victim's relatives, you see, was connected to the younger brother of the dam supporter who fell to his death 2 years before. The younger brother is still alive, it seems. But it did bother him quite a bit, so he moved to the neighboring town. Ooh, okay. For a while I stood there with my mouth agape. The battle over the dam construction with Hinamizawa's future at stake. And the murder at the center of it all? That was all I knew, and that was all I wanted to ask about. That wasn't all there was to the story. Homicide, body disposal, accidental deaths, terminal illness, suicide, fatal beatings. I'm a pretty level-headed person. I don't really want to believe in curses. But the freakish deaths happen every year on the day of the Watanagashi, and all of them were related to the dam construction. It was easy to dismiss each of them as coincidences by themselves. When you put all of them together, dismissing all of them as coincidence would then defy logic. I don't believe in curses, but every single year on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody or something makes it happen without fail. The woman chuckled again, as if she picked up on what I was thinking. It felt like she was saying, maybe we frightened him, stuff like that. I felt embarrassed at being read so easily. I pressed Tomitaki-san to continue, a bit of impatience and irritation in my tone. Then, someone died the next year, right? Who was it at that time? I wondered. What do you think, Keiichi-kun? The hell? The way he said it. The way he said it didn't agree with me. Oh, the way he said it didn't agree with me. The sarcastic tone ticked me off. Don't avoid the question. I'm serious here. Hey, calm down, Keiichi-kun. I realized when she tried to calm me down that I had been panicking. We aren't trying to avoid the question, Keiichi-kun. Just, when you say the next year, that's today. When she hesitated to say it, Tomitaki-san finished it for her. I broke into a cold sweat. I really didn't like the direction this was headed. Oh shit. Somebody wants to speak. Somebody wants to... Nobody... Oh. Damn. Nobody wants to speak of it, but they all think it's going to happen again tonight. The festival was so cheerful though. Well, the victim last year, the housewife, she was a non-believer. Turns out she didn't even attend the Watanagashi festival. There was a rumor going around that if you didn't participate in the festival, you would incur Oyashiro-sama's curse. Did you hear anything about this, Keiichi-kun? I never even heard a whisper about it. Then the reason everyone was at the festival was they were afraid of the curse? I figure that must have been the reason. There were a lot more people at the Watanagashi than usual. Guess everyone was just afraid after all of Oyashiro-sama's curse? I couldn't utter a single word. This modern age, where we've made progress in all scientific fields, shedding light on the unknown and misunderstood, where black and white television has been eradicated and sent men to the moon. Even with all our accomplishments, this can exist in modern society. Tons of invitations were sent out to neighboring towns, youth groups to help pad the numbers. But after that string of events, you decided to. Municipal committee members were complaining about how hard it was to gather participants. Also, the police are treating each case as isolated. They don't believe they're connected. They're trying to keep it quiet, so it's all plainclothes officers. Finally began to dawn on me why Rina and Miyama were reluctant to talk. Nothing happened during this Watanagashi. Everything would have been over with, and I'd be none the wiser. If nothing happened, all would be well. In that case, it would all end up being just crazy talk. I should have just pretended like I knew nothing from the beginning, and they wouldn't have had to act like nothing happened. And we would have all gotten back to life as usual. Maybe it was just too much for him after all. The woman ran her fingers through her hair as she sighed. No, it wasn't. Not at all. I tried to act strong, but that just served to emphasize how much the information had unsettled me. After seeing how I looked, Tomitake-san appeared to regret saying anything. Letting out a sigh, he then spoke, forcing an awkward, upbeat demeanor. Keiichi-kun, surely you don't believe in such things as curses. Well, no. If the causes of all the crimes were unknown, with the perpetrators and their methods all mysteries, then I would think it's the work of a curse. That's not how things are in reality. The police are investigating the evidence and suspects to uncover the truth. Hearing him say police made me feel a lot better. It was perfect for repelling the word curse. First one, the dismemberment, for example. I told you, didn't I? All but one of the perpetrators were arrested. It's only a matter of time for the last one. The motive turned out to have been an argument they had while intoxicated. That's no curse. Would you agree? That was true. It didn't happen on the day of the Watanabe, and I wouldn't think it was related to the curse at all. The accidental death of the man who supported the dam is his name. He was in a position that made others hate him. The police made a point of investigating from that angle. They concluded it was an accident, not foul play. But they both happened on the day of the festival, right? Think about it, Keiichi-kun. Do you think people with a lot of enemies here in Hinamizawa could participate easily in a local festival? It would be especially hard for them to be around during the Watanagashi, so they probably left Hinamizawa intentionally around this time of year to travel, don't you think? It wasn't a very clear explanation, but I sort of understood what Tomitake-san was getting at. I pressed on earnestly, asking more questions than I could, So I pressed on earnestly, asking more questions so that I could convince myself. Then, Tomitake-san, what about the priest who died after that? From the unknown illness. That also happened on the day of the festival. It's easier to explain what happened to the Shinto priest. The Watanagashi is a really big event that happens once a year. It's probably from all the built-up stress. Or it may have been because of a pre-existing condition. But it was an unknown illness. Hard to believe something with an unknown cause could exist with all our advances in medicine. Just an exaggeration. Rumors making rumors. Anyone would get worked up over having incidents happen 2 years in a row. The sudden death is quite unnatural though. Of course, the police ordered an autopsy because of the strange way he died. There wasn't enough for them to open a full investigation, you know? Turns out it was just a sudden death due to illness. The priest's wife committed suicide, correct? What about that? I believe I already explained that. Everyone was shaken up by the incidents happening for a third year. Those who are of strong faith were quick to believe it was the work of the curse. Of course, that included the priest's wife. Apparently, they found a suicide note that said something like, "My death will quell Yashiro-sama's anger." Well then. Next incident with the housewife happens on the day of the Watanagashi too. The perpetrator has already been caught and the case has been closed. Turns out it was just some nut job trying to continue the legacy of the Hinamizawa curse. And how about the incident the next year? Oh yeah, this year is the next year. Tomitake-san gave a hearty laugh. Nothing will happen. Not this year. There was never a curse to begin with. Just that a group of people believed it was the explanation for a string of coincidences. My internal computer finally got itself back on track. I felt a bit embarrassed how childish I'd become after losing control and panicking. I can see very clearly now that Keiichi-kun really does love Hinamizawa. Even if Oishiro-sama's curse actually did exist, Keiichi-kun couldn't bring himself to believe that such a thing existed. I felt really very relieved. I should probably just forget everything I heard tonight. I'll greet Rina and Mia tomorrow with the same smile as always. They'd probably also like tonight to end without an incident, so they can continue on tomorrow without having to worry me. Perhaps seeing my change in attitude. The woman who had been listening stretched as she got up from the rock she was sitting on. Well then, I should be getting back. Goodness, I think I may have gone on a bit too long. There were so few people compared to the crowd from before. I could only make out a few groups of families enjoying the cool evening air. Looked at my watch. It seemed we talked for the better part of an hour. Did you come along with your friends, Keiichi-kun? Not gonna look for them? Oh yeah. They might all be looking for me. You're quite the scoundrel making the girls look for you. See you, Keiichi-kun. Have a nice night. You too, Jiro-san. I'll see you later. Tomitaki-san seems to be quite the scoundrel himself, so his name is Jiro. After dusting off her backside, she disappeared into the crowd of people still busy cleaning up the shrine grounds. Keiichi-kun, so sorry. In her place, Rina came running over. I could see all the others behind her. Speak of the devil. My bad, Kei-chan. We got so caught up in our discussion, I completely forgotten about them while caught up in my own conversation, so we were even. So Tomitaki-san was with you? This works out perfectly. We still need to settle the shooting gallery competition. Ah, that's right. So I guess I'm gonna end up dead last. In the end, after my dramatic victory, Rika-chan was the last challenger, but there weren't many targets left. The ones remaining were all tiny and difficult to hit. She did take her time and aim, but all 3 shots completely missed. It was to end up sharing the loser's crown with Tomitaki-san. However, she did her little mewing cry in front of the owner, and he turned to mush instantly. He was given a pack of gum as a consolation prize. Her methods were a bit audacious. She did avoid being the loser rather magnificently. Come to think of it, Rika-chan is quite the trickster. I have no idea what Keiichi's talking about. Now then, it's decided that Tomitaki-san is dead last. Everyone cheered and applauded. Tomitaki-san smiled wryly, slightly bewildered. Oh, Tomitaki-san, are you ready? Penalty time. Huh? Oh, I completely forgot about that. Too naive, Tomitaki-san. This is why our club can never lose. Mion pulled a felt tip marker from her pocket. Oh, it's that. Show him some mercy, Mion. At least use a washable marker. A permanent one is too harsh. It just has to be permanent. It comes off when you do laundry anyway. Whoa, what is this? Please take it easy on me. All of us pinned his arms behind his back, and Mion approached him with the mark in one hand. And squip, squip, squip. But she didn't write on Tomitaki-san's face. She wrote on the shirt he was wearing. Huh? You'd better have your big break this year, Mion. Reina took up the marker next. Show me your photos next time, okay? Reina. It was a little heartwarming, and I just had to laugh. This is more like a farewell card than a penalty. Oh, I'm not as soft as the rest. I'll make sure this is a proper penalty. Uh-oh. Dead last. Try harder next time, Rika. Here you go, Keiichi-san. Couldn't decide what to write, but based on what kind of penalty this was probably the most appropriate. Come back and play again? Keiichi. Tomitaki-san was silent the entire time. First he was quite bewildered, and now he had a different look on his face. Do I have to wear this all the way back to Tokyo as part of the penalty? Of course, you'd better wear it all the way home. You could wear it when you come back. It would be nice. He appeared deeply moved. Embarrassment mixed with a wealth of other emotions made him turn a bright red. Understood. I'll wear this next time I come here. I promise. Everyone cheered and applauded. It was the finest parting gift possible for a buddy heading out tonight. I saw the woman who was with Tomitaki-san standing near the festival grounds. It seemed Tomitaki-san noticed her too and knew it was time to leave. Seems like your guest is waiting. Isn't it about time? Yeah, that's certainly how it seems. Omisaki-san headed off towards her and seemed to apologize for making her wait. We all shouted stuff at Tomitaki-san. Each time we did, he looked back and waved his hand. Eventually, he faded into the darkness of the night, out of sight. It was quite the casual farewell. This wasn't the first time any of us had seen someone off. They had done the same thing many times before. He's gone. Well, it's about time we take off too. Rika-chan had to stay behind with the other committee members since they were having a meeting. Satoko was tagging along with her. I headed back home with the usual suspects. The walk back was quite lively, with talk of the day's war stories. Should have done this, should have done that, that kind of stuff. Reina and I parted ways with Mion, and then it was just the two of us. Then we got to my house and I parted ways with Reina as well. It's already pretty late. Are you alright by yourself? Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. It's close. I'm gonna run too. If you run into some weirdo, just yell. If someone does come, will you come and save me? Maybe? Maybe? If I hear you. How? Okay. I'll scream loud enough so you can hear me. Okay. Merrily spinning her arms around at high speed, Reina dashed off. She was fine. In that mode... She was fine. In that mode, not even an adult could stand against her. Reina's cheerful presence disappeared and it finally became quiet again. The curse that not a single person even whispered about. The more I learned about it tonight, the more unsettling it became. It didn't show on any of their faces. They were probably all quite concerned about it as well. But if nothing happens tonight, then it all ends up just being crazy talk. Nothing will happen. Nothing bad. At all. Come on, Keiichi. Why are you standing in a place like that? Come inside, you'll catch cold. It was my mom. Did you go, Mom? To the Onikakushi festival? In the end, your father didn't wake up, so I missed it. A little disappointing. Mom stuck her tongue out with a bit of an embarrassed look on her face. Alright. Alright, let's run into... Whoa! 4 of them, okay. Few new tips. Let's just go through all the new ones. Okay. From the June 1980 edition. On the afternoon of blank at 2 p.m., office employee blank and his wife blank of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture disappeared after falling 27 meters from the observatory platform in Shirakawa Prefecture. Whoa. Police and firefighters searched downstream and discovered the body of blank at around 7 p.m. that evening. His wife, blank, has yet to be found. The search has run into difficulties due to the effects of Typhoon 3 from the previous day. It appeared a railing at the observatory that the blanks lean on had broken, causing him to fall. The groundskeeping staff was questioned by the police in regards to facility deterioration, and if park maintenance was performed properly. Next one. The June 1981 edition. On the afternoon of blank at around 10 p.m. in the blank district of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture, the Shinto priest of the Furude shrine passed away after an existing condition he was recovering from suddenly worsened. Parties close to the deceased said he was suffering from anxiety issues concerning the festival, which was to be held that day. Also, after Blank's death, his wife Blank went missing, leaving behind a farewell note. The police and local youth association continued the search. However, given the presence of the farewell message and the fact that the Onikakushi marsh is said to be bottomless, they have run into difficulties. Housewife murder. It wasn't reported in the newspaper. Okay. Alright, radio log. This is Okinomiya Station, calling Unit 3. Unit 3, please respond. This is Unit 3, loud and clear. Backup is heading your way. Hold position until further instructions. Over. Roger, Unit 3 acknowledged. Requesting no headlights. Requesting radio silence. Station, the doctor has arrived. They want to carry it away. What's the order? Over. Acknowledged. Leave it to the doctor. Affirmative. Understood. Backup has arrived. Can we let them take a photo first? I think the Vic is done for. Uh-oh. Alright. Continue. Good morning. Nice job yesterday, K-chan. You didn't do so badly yourself, Mion. Yesterday was fun. Oh, that's right, Keiji-kun. Thank you very much for the Mr. Bear. Glad you like it. Don't use it as a pin cushion, though. I wouldn't. Still chatting happily, we entered the classroom, but the moment I stepped into the room, a splashing sound and a nasty sensation. It was a bucket filled to the brim with water, and unfortunately my foot stepped right into it. There she is. My now. How diligent of you to mop the floor this morning. Clomp, clomp, clomp. With. Wow. Keiichi-san flicked my forehead. You should set a more brutal trap next time. Seeing that, Reina began to swoon as Mion looked on dejectedly. Everything was the same as always. Everybody was there and nothing felt out of place. The uncertainties I had on the back of my mind since yesterday had vanished. What is it, Keiichi-kun? Didn't get enough sleep? Maybe? Maybe? I slept like a log, but if you want, I'll do a reenactment during class. You shouldn't do that. Mion alerted us that the teacher was coming, so everyone shuffled off to their seats. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday was the festival. Thank you to all the people who stayed up until the very end to help clean up. We were all slackers, so none of us actually helped clean up. Actually, I had a feeling that the only thing we did was run around the festival and cause a ruckus. Okay then, this time of year you might see some people here from out of town doing interviews about the festival for magazines. Thought it was the usual stuff, so I was going to tune it out, but then I noticed a different tone in her voice and started paying attention. You may be asked questions. Please don't say anything silly or something that could be taken the wrong way. Do you understand? In unison, everyone replied, "Yes, ma'am." What she'd said was really vague, but I understood what she was trying to say. After all, this was the 5th year. There were probably lots of third-rate reporters pouring in, hoping something regarding the curse had happened. It did nothing but perpetuate the village's bad image. She was saying, "Don't spout stupid shit you think is funny." And now I was one of ones who needed to keep their mouth shut. I found it rather cute how I felt a sense of unity from such a trite thing, if I do say so myself. Alright. I was summoned to club activities after school. Since everybody was still pretty tired from yesterday, we just spent the day relaxing. Yeah? Oh. We spent the day relaxing. Yeah, that wasn't happening. Today, let's play a classic game of deduction. How about this one? Oh, a game from overseas. Looks interesting. The instructions are in English, but the rules don't seem that hard. I won't lose, you hear? I'm not too bad at this game. It seemed that Reina didn't handle this kind of game very well. The rules are, the person who can match the murderer, weapon, and the scene of the crime wins. There were 3 kinds of cards comprised of suspects, weapons, and locations. And what a game. I can see that the names of Miana and Rika were written on the suspect cards. Oh, a card with my name on it as well. There are plenty of different weapons too, like knives, axes, and poison. Locations are pretty nice too, like the living room, the study, and the courtyard. So basically, you take out one of each of the cards. These are the answer cards. Do we shuffle the remaining cards and hand them out? We ask each other about the cards and figure out the right ones. Ah, I see. The cards nobody has are the true perpetrators. Then you raise your hand if you know the answer. The game ends and we check if the answer is correct. If you're right, then you get a point. If you're wrong, then you lose a point. Since the game ends, even if no one gets it right, all the cards are gathered up and redistributed. You'll learn as you go. You really have to use your brain. You'll get confused if you don't take notes. The rest you can figure out by playing. So Mion, what's the penalty this time? Everyone directed their attention to Mion. Let's see. We're all still a little tired from yesterday, so maybe we'll take it easy with a gopher penalty. You'll be asked to rush out and buy stuff for everyone. So just being asked to go buy stuff like drinks and candy, I guess? I guess. I feel like the penalty today is pretty simple. I wonder, is it really? Sorry about that. Scared you sound thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah. You don't know what you'll have to go buy. I'm betting Mion would send out whoever loses to buy stuff like hemorrhoid cream or happy family planning manual or something like that. Well, they're crazy though. The cards were lightly shuffled and passed out to each player. Alright, it's game time. The real perpetrator, the correct weapon, and the scene of the murder have been taken out. That means all the cards I have in my hand are innocent cards. Then, I'll go first since I am the club president. I guess... Well then, Mion, knife, study. You pick one suspect, weapon, and murder scene and ask each person. If you have any of those cards, then you must say, I have one. However, you don't need to say which one you have. Wait, what? Oh, if you have any of those cards, I have one. Oh. My bad. Got a little confused. Yeah, I got it. Me too. I have one. Oh my, all of them are here. 3 people answered when she asked if they had Mion, knife, and study. So that means that Mion, knife, and study are all in the clear. I have to jot that down. And I'll go. Arena, X, Lounge. Only 2 people said they had one. So it means out of Arena, X, and Lounge, one of them is correct and is part of the crime. No wait, even if they say they have one, they don't have to say how many. It's possible that either Satoko or Rika-chan have 2 of the cards. Oh then, Kei-chan is next, go ahead. Whoa, wait just a little. I'm still sorting things out. The game has me thinking more than I thought. Oh man, this feels like it's gonna be tough. Alright, now I have the criminal. What? Already? Here I am spinning around in circles and Mion just now raises her hand. The murderer is Rika-chan. In the infirmary with the poison. Well, Mion drew the cards from the box and we checked to see if her deduction was right. You're right. Ooh. All I needed was one more hand. Couldn't tell whether it was poison or pistol. I'd never use a pistol. I like killing them slowly with poison. Rika-chan said such a hugely terrifying thing with such a sweet little face. Everyone was making a commotion about how they almost had it. Reina and I were left out in the cold though. How did you do, Kate? I couldn't get it at all. Don't worry. I had no idea either. How can you both be so unsure? You'll both end up in last place together at this rate. Even worse. Going off buying something together as a couple? What if we ended up having to buy the happy family planning guide? Whoop. I can tell from Cage's expression that he's not very good at this game. What? That's not true. I'll show you the true power of Sherlock may borrow during the next round. Okay. My, that sounds just wonderful. I shall give you quite the thrashing. After that, I managed to somewhat grasp the trick behind the game, but I was still always a step or two behind. That Mion was somehow gleaning information from how the others were asking questions. That level of experience was just too much. The only way I could stage a comeback was if I became ruthless. I tossed out the simple concept of deduction and switched over to the thought process needed to win. The important thing isn't to find out the criminal, it's to win the game. Eureka! Sorry, need to go to the bathroom. Take your time and squeeze out a nice one. Michan, that's gross. I had them hold off the game and headed down the hall. The air was crisp. It showed just how stagnant the air in the classroom was from our body heat. On the school ground, some of our classmates were still playing around. After spending some time cooling my head, Rina had made her way over to us. Hey, did you call for me? Yeah, I did. As I got up from my seat, I winked over at Rina. I'm glad it worked out. I don't want to waste much time, so I'll get right to the point. Rina, what's your record at this game we're playing today? She was taken aback. After a moment, she hesitantly opened her mouth. Well, all losses. Why do you ask? I wonder. I could tell from how apprehensively she was playing. The way things are going, I will as well. Can't figure out a way to pull off this last-minute comeback on this one. So I guess both of us will be taking that penalty. Hey, don't accept defeat already. How about we win this? Both of us. But how can we? I brought my lips up to Rina's ear. Is that allowed? Did you forget, Rina, the second rule of our society? Do everything in your power to obtain the victory. Yeah, I'll try my best. Our plan of attack was quite a rudimentary one. At the beginning of the game, everyone would be focused on their own hand for a while, taking notes and whatnot. Since our seats were right next to each other, we reveal our hands to each other. If we did it under the desk, then nobody would know. We'd begin the game with twice as much information as everyone else. Having this much information would mean we'd need to investigate less. With this sort of plan of attack, we start off with a big lead over the other guys. Yeah, with this, we can probably win. We both smirked at each other. If I was the shady businessman, then Rina was the corrupt senator. Pleasure doing business with you. Then, let's hurry back. We'll work as a duo to surprise everyone. Hey now, there's no point if we go back together. It would be like flat out telling them we made a little arrangement. Oh, sorry, then what should we do? Go back ahead of me, Rina. Take my time, coming back after washing my face or something. Okay, got it. I'm gonna turn around and headed back to the classroom. I guess I should wait a bit longer before going back. If I went out too soon, it wouldn't seem like I went to the bathroom. If Mion or one of them suspected something, then there could be problems. Well, they figure it out sooner or later, because both Rina and I start winning over and over again. Both Rina and I will have earned enough points to avoid being the losers by the time Mion realized what was happening. Excellent. Not bad at all. Hey, Barakun, I have a moment. Huh? It's the teacher. Man, things are just getting good. What is it? I'm a bit... You have guessed. Please make your way to the entrance. Yes. It's not like I own a hotel. Come on. They've been waiting. Please hurry. I was rather unfortunate that I'd have someone waiting on me right before my big match. I was more interested in the unexpected guest. I didn't want to waste any time, so I decided to take care of it quickly. The entryway was a heavy contrast from the hot sunlight and deep shadows. Waiting there, looking uncomfortably warm, was a middle-aged man, his tie sloppily loosened and his jacket tucked underneath his arm. Are you Meibaru-san? Keiichi Meibaru-san? There was no question that he wasn't a resident of Hinamizawa. and that this was without a doubt the first time he had met me. Ever since I met Tomitaki-san, I've been running into so many middle-aged men. That's right. Who might you be? I have the AC on in my car. Let's talk there. It's a bit hot out here, don't you think? Man, completely ignoring my question, pointed over to his car parked near the gate and began walking. Got to be kidding me. I had no intention of going along with some geezer I didn't even know. And he was asking me to get in his car with him? I'm not going to bite. Come on now. He opened the back door of his car and called me over. I didn't like this whole band, but I wanted to know what this was about. Even while knowing that conversations that start out like this have never led to anything good. The inside of his car was pretty cool. Cars with air conditioners were supposed to be a luxury. My dad didn't have one in his car, at least. Please let me know if it's too cold for you, okay? I have a habit of cranking it all the way up. But what business do you have with me? Out of spite, I decided to ignore his remark in the same way he did to me and start my own line of questioning. He pulled out a notepad from his pocket and took out a picture that was stuck between the pages. On it was the face of a pretty goofy looking guy. You know anything related to this individual? Tell me. The heck is this? I doubt even his close friends will be able to recognize who he was from this expressionless picture that looked like it was taken at the DMV. There were scribbles on his shirt done in permanent marker. Starting with yours, Miura-san. Quite a few of your classmates signed as well. Huh? This is Tomitaki-san. There was no hint of his usual unreliable and easygoing personality in this photo. It was an expressionless, half-asleep face. Then do you know this woman? Even before seeing it, I had a good idea of who it was. I don't remember her name, but she's some lady who was with Tomitaki-san last night. I didn't know what her name was, but I did know she was a resident of Hinamizawa. When was the last time you saw these two? The night of the Watanagashi. We spoke. They seemed pretty close, I guess. Did anything bother you about them? Anything is fine. Go ahead and say it. Being asked for every little detail is very troubling, honestly. I had a pretty good idea of who this guy was by now. Something happened to them? There was no response to my inquiry. Thus, I replied to that silence in kind. I was pretty sure, no, certain, that this guy was a cop. Then why? Why was he asking me about Tomitaki-san? Something happened to him? More importantly, why me? Couldn't there have been plenty of other people who knew more about him than I did? The roar of the air conditioner felt unbearably loud. After a long pause, he finally spoke again. You've moved here just recently, isn't that right, my bar-san? Are you aware, I wonder, about the stories of Higurashi-sama? My heart began to race. I'm pretty terrible at hiding things. It probably showed on my face. Not at all? If you don't, then that's fine. Well, I have heard of it. Tomitaki-san told me, actually. How much do you know about it? The dismemberment killing, the accidental death, the death by illness followed by suicide, and the lady who was beaten to death. The incidents that always happened the day of the Watanagashi, ending in suspicious death. I didn't think Tomitaki-san would have kept anything from me. I think that was everything. No, rather, I didn't want to think there was anything more than that. Do you know of that? Well, curse, Miura-san. Feel free to speak openly about it. I don't believe in it. My answer was instant. It wasn't so much that I didn't believe in it as I was on the verge of believing. I wanted to clear away my own doubts. That was more. Oh my god. That was the more prominent feeling. Really. And that's great. Guess you really are one of those city-raised boys. So what if I don't believe? I have friends waiting, so could you get to the point? The man in this picture is dead. My mind went blank. Huh? What happened to Tomitaki-san? It would seem that he died last night. That was the night of the Watanagashi. Do you understand the implications behind that, Maybar-san? Implications? Not any yet. not any for the cause of his death or the reasons behind it. The real problem was that he died on the day of the Watanagashi, meaning this year, the curse of Oyashiro-sama had once again, the death of Jiro Tomitake, still confidential. You can understand why that is, right? They want to understand why. Please tell me. Tell me what happened. It was rather peculiar. Might be a little too graphic for someone born and raised in Himisawa. It was a roundabout way of saying it, but it caused me to doubt whether or not I wanted to hear the rest. I only regret forcing myself to learn of something I shouldn't. Or at least, that's how I figured I would feel if I listened to the rest. One of our patrol cars discovered the body on the way back from security detail at the festival. It was late, about 5 till midnight. The location was, where the road into town becomes paved, right? Down past the slope on the shoulder around there. There were a few street lights on that road. Its pitch black darkness was only broken by the lights of passing cars and the moon. It was the stroke of luck that Tomitake-san was spotted collapsed on the shoulder of the road. Tomitake-san was face down, covered in blood. Blood and muck covered the asphalt. We thought it was a hit and run at first. Then the officer checked to see if he was still alive, and he quickly noticed something abnormal. His throat had been ripped open from a knife or something. Nails? Nails? As in fingernails? With those, he clawed through. From the coroner's report, it was revealed that it was his own nails. What does that mean? Basically, it wasn't a murder, it was a suicide. Tomitake-san thought there was a reason to tear open his own throat? As hard as he could with his own nails. Tore through the skin until he started to bleed. And even then, Tomitake-san didn't stop. He continued clawing. With enough intensity that it could have peeled off his nails, still clawing. Still clawing. Then, as his nails reached those vital arteries that you should never damage, he continued clawing. Spurt. Blood splattered on the ground around him as he bled. While gasping for breath, he collapsed. His body spasmed and he died in agony. We thought drugs were to blame, but nothing of the nature was detected. This is suicide? I've never heard of such a thing. This unnatural way of dying. If this wasn't a mysterious death, then what was? The way he died, in these 5 years, his death most resembled that of a curse. As if to show both myself and Tomitake-san, who proclaimed that there was no such thing as a curse, that we were wrong. There were a few more suspicious details. From his body chemistry, perspiration, elation, and so on. We concluded that he was in a state of hysteria right before his death. That was a given. Hard to believe someone could be in a sound state of mind while clawing out their throat. Wounds on his hands matched a discarded piece of lumber found nearby. There are traces of where he struck trees and the guardrails within. Tomitake-san's blood was found all over the place, meaning that while tearing at his own throat, he was swinging around a piece of lumber. There were external injuries which were not self-inflicted discovered on Tomitake-san. There's a high probability Tomitake-san was assaulted. The external injuries suggest there may be multiple suspects. To summarize, Tomitake-san was surrounded and attacked. While wandering the night roads in a state of panic, after being cornered, he picked up a piece of lumber and tried fighting back. Somewhere in there, he began madly tearing at his throat, clawing at it, and he died. Oof. The presumed time of death was around 9:23 p.m., meaning it occurred right after you finished talking to Tomitake-san at the festival. Everyone signed Tomitake-san's shirt and then parted ways. Right after that, oh yeah, he should have been with a woman. What about her? She's missing. She hasn't shown up to work and she hasn't returned home either. There's a very high probability that she was involved in this incident. For a while, I could only gaze off in space. I never would have thought that something unfortunate happening to somebody close to me could affect me this deeply. The time I had spent with Tomitaki-san was short. But we went to the same festival, spent time together, and took part in the same competition. He was one of us. We have been continuing the investigation on various fronts, but when it comes to Oyashiro-sama's curse, the villagers here aren't very cooperative. That I knew well. Would have been none the wiser if not for Tomitaki-san, the outsider, telling me. So that's why you came to me, because I'm not originally from Hinamizawa. Should have been angry that that was the reason. He wanted to hear what happened for me. Things go the way they've been, and the conclusion would be that Jiro Tomitaki-san died from Oyashiro-sama's curse. He turned away from me and gazed far off into the distance. The night of the Watanagashi, during that sacred ritual, he callously snapped off photos, angering Oyashiro-sama. That's how it's going to turn out. There's no way Oyashiro-sama would inflict divine punishment on Tomitaki-san. Tomitaki-san had to have been killed by humans, and a cowardly group less. There's no way I'm going to let this end up being the fault of some curse. I think so as well. There's no such thing as divine punishment or curses. The tense mood was cut with the man's hearty laugh. That's how this must be, Mibara-san. Cooperation from individuals in Hinamizawa who don't believe in the curse. It's sensible. And neither Tomitaki-san nor I believed in the curses. But with the way things were going, it would just end up with Tomitaki-san's death marking the 5th year. Which would mean that Hinamizawa had rejected Tomitaki-san. That was something I couldn't allow. Tomitaki-san was one of us. He didn't live in Hinamizawa, but he came every single year. In a sense, he was more of a resident than I was. There was no way that Tomitaki-san could have been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. But there is something I can do to help. There's nothing I can do to help, sorry. I have no idea what happened that night either. No. If you see or hear something that draws your attention, then that is enough. If I see or hear, he was talking in the future tense. Things or people or rumors. Anything is fine. I don't care if they're unfounded. Here, this is my number. If I'm not there, then just leave a message with whoever picks up. He handed me a piece of paper with his number on it, but I hesitated for a second. If I took it, whether I wanted to or not, I'd be knee deep in this matter? Please help me solve these questions surrounding Tomitaki-san's unfortunate death. That's right. Why was I hesitating? I needed to find the murderer who killed my friend. Snatched at the piece of paper as a satisfied grin spread across his face. Everything we spoke of today is secret. Please keep this confidential. Understood. From your friends as well. Especially from Sonozaki-san and Furuta-san. Please do not inform them. Sonozaki, you mean Mion. Why? Are you saying they had something to do with the incident? With my friends' names brought up so abruptly, and being told to keep it a secret from them, I became rather angry. This is what they call investigative privilege, I suppose. Don't play games with me. Mion is a close friend of mine. I snapped at him, but he didn't seem to especially be offended. I wouldn't mind telling you, but it may just upset you. Say it. He hesitated a little. Turning his gaze to the outside of the car, he began to speak after thinking for a bit. There is a possibility the string of incidents happening here in Hinamizawa are a result of a village conspiracy. There's no way that could be right. Give me a break. First of all, is there any proof of that? No evidence. Also, each of the cases were resolved, and none of the perpetrators had any direct connection to the village. Then how did you come to that conclusion? Every year, the enemies of the village die on the day of the Watanagashi. You think that's enough of a reason to suspect something? Only the residents of Hinamizawa felt the day of the Watanagashi was sacred. So basically, because incidents happened on that day, it was somehow related to Hinamizawa. First it was the damn construction foreman. Then it was the villager that supported it. Those the village hold a grudge against die one after the other from mysterious causes. The means are different, but in the end the result is the same. Unfounded, unreasonable suspicion. But it couldn't just be shrugged off. The victims after that, what about the Shinto priest and his wife's death? They weren't enemies of the village. The villagers had expected leadership from the Shinto priest at the time of the dam dispute, but he wasn't proactive, so there was a faction of villagers who harbored ill will towards him as a result. Ill will. Not like he did anything bad to the village. What about that housewife after that? Did she die just because she was the wife of the brother of a supporter? That's such a trivial reason to kill someone. And what about Tomitaki-san? He's not affiliated with the dam project at all. Was he killed just because he was an outsider? In the beginning, it fell on those related to the dam project, but as the years went on, the enemy threshold of the victims had become much lower. Well, that's the scary part. The bar keeps getting lower. What's scary about that? It means it's not just the enemies of the village anymore. Just being an outsider is reason enough. Then next year's victim, they're just going to be picked out of the village outsider pool. It might be a person that just moved here. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by... I swallow my words. During Hinamizawa, the ones who would be considered the most outside would be my family. I was proof of enough of that, wasn't I? Still couldn't really remember the names of the people I passed by. And the next victims, my family. Was he saying it was going to be me? But what does it have to do with Mion? I can't go into details, but the Sonozaki family led the dam protest. Quite fervently so. This is also true of Mion Sonozaki herself. She has quite a few misdemeanor and obstruction of public worker offenses on her record because of the protest. I knew Mion knew what it meant to fight. This was the first I'd heard of her family leading the protest, though. And, well, what did it all mean? Are you saying that Mion's family is involved with this string of incidents? I wouldn't go that far. I'm just saying that if it was a conspiracy, then they'd have the highest probability of being behind it. Not a very clear explanation. It felt like he'd magnificently avoided the details I really wanted to know. We don't know who or how involved anyone is right now. That is exactly why I don't want you to say anything to the villagers. Instead of answering, I gave a very bitter expression. It seemed that he understood it well enough. Think of it like this. I don't want to worry the villagers who blindly believe in the curse. How about that? What do you mean by how about that? How should I know? The reasoning behind wanting me to not carelessly open my mouth about it wasn't too hard to comprehend. The perpetrator was here. It had nothing to do with a curse. He was definitely going to be caught by the police and made to pay for his crimes. And none of the villagers should have anything to do with that process. It may cause those sensitive about the curse to just worry needlessly. It's like everyone kept it from me, so I wouldn't worry about it. Is it now my turn to keep it from them so they don't have to worry? I was just talking to myself. Like me, everyone else had been worrying over these mysterious incidents yearly. And the incident this time probably means a lot more to them. I didn't want to burden them anymore. In the end, everything went as the man had wanted, as it was, but it couldn't be helped. I understand. Keep it to myself. Is that fine? Mr. Oishi from the Okinomiya police station. You can call me Kurachan if you... no, Oishi-san is fine. The way he said it was unpleasant, yet retained a hint of politeness. He was the spitting image of a vulgar police officer. Though, I've never seen one this bulky before. The cop shows I watch. Taking up too much time. Your friends are waiting, aren't they? Probably let you get back to them. The door opened with a click, and in streamed the oppressive heat. It was blistering outside the car. Was it really this hot of a day? It was an almost cruel heat, as opposed to the mechanical coolness inside the car. It was as if the land of Hinamizawa itself suddenly hated me. I felt a little sad at that, as that thought crossed my mind. I didn't mean to suspect your friends. Please don't misunderstand that. I refrained from telling him that it was too late to say something that's self-serving. Fine if you don't see or hear anything. Where you are, son. There is enough proof that the village is not involved. I'll contact you if I hear or see anything. But I'm no detective. Please don't expect too much from me. I won't. You don't have to become a detective. Just go on living as you have up until now. Just let me know if you notice anything. I hastily made my way back to the school building after giving him a quick bow. See you later. Farewell, Mebarka. I returned to the school building without looking back. I don't know how much time has passed. I did feel bad for keeping them waiting, but right now there was a lot on my mind. Tomitake-san's death was hard enough as it was, but to think that there was the possibility of a village conspiracy? Worse still, there was also a chance that Mion was involved? Nonsense. Impossible. Not Mion, Rino, Satoko, or Rika-chan? It was a group that had attacked Tomitake-san? Who could the perpetrators be? Could it be they were hiding here? Somewhere in Hinamizawa? I didn't know. All I could say was certain that I knew that Mion couldn't be the perpetrator. It's Mi-chan, perpetrator. Huh? I was startled to hear Rina's voice. With the rope in the lounge? Wahaha. Nope. No. Rina clutched her head while flailing about. Looks like you're just self-destructing over there, wow. Ah, Geichi-san, you're quite late. As you may know, I'm seething with anger. Sorry about that. I was called into the staff room, you see. You were reprimanded for bad behavior? That's a shame. Well, it's been pretty heated over here. This is getting pretty late. Let's make the next game the last one. If I remember right, I had 0 points. Isn't it pretty much decided that I'm going to be finishing in last place? Don't worry, Keiichi-kun. I'm at -1 points. How the heck? Her score's lower than mine, and I wasn't even playing. This is the final match to decide if the penalty is going to be carried out by Rina alone or by both Keiichi and Rina. Yeah, right. Just let Rina do the penalty by herself. We made a promise, Keiichi-kun, that we would both win. I waited all this time, you know. I'm sorry about that. Whoops. I followed my initial plan of showing Rina my cards, but I didn't say who was the criminal and just waited for her to call. I got it. The murderer is me, with the poison at the entrance. Is it? My Rina, quite a quick answer. Another stab in the dark. Rina's correct? Oh ho! Then it's decided that Keiichi-san shall take part in the penalty as well. Hooray! Keiichi-kun, let's both do our best. Yeah, let's do our best. It's my fault, so I have no choice. Then that's game. That's me, Mion Sonozaki, ranked first. Dead last are Keiichi Mibara and Reina Ryugu. Everyone applauded and the game ended. The problem now was the penalty. Now then, I ranked first, so I'll decide what you'll be buying from the Gopher penalty. What will she make us buy? I wonder. Let's blacklist the drugstore. That was your aim, wasn't it? Huh? I don't have any business at the drugstore. This old man's already got a list prepared for you on this piece of paper. Whoa, there's a lot written here. A lot? Damn it. What is she making us buy? 2 blocks of tofu, shampoo and conditioner, apple vinegar and fried tofu. What the heck is this? It looks more like a shopping list than a penalty. Me was certain she was going to win today. She made them do her groceries. Rule 7 of our society: you cannot refuse any penalty. Here's some money. The shampoo I usually get is Fruit Fable, thanks. This is just your grocery list. I promised myself that if I won next time, I'd make her go buy hemorrhoid cream. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna call it here. Oh, hold on. Alright, I'm gonna run through these two and then I'm gonna call it. Boom. Hypovolemic shock induced by clawing out their own throat. Tissue is packed under the nails, not someone else's nails. It's undoubtedly by the individual's own nails. The shape of the scars also matches. Yeah. I know the immediate cause of death was suicide. I get it. You're saying the cause of death is unnatural, right? It's kind of like when your back itches and you scratch a little too hard and draw blood. Some of Tomitake-san's fingernails had been pulled out. It's actually quite simple to pull out one's own nails, but it really hurts. Under normal circumstances, the pain will prevent you from completely pulling them out. Also, there were a lot of bruises on Tomitake's body. It's clear from the shape of them that he was assaulted first by someone or a group of people. According to the toxicology report, the deceased was in an extreme state of hysteria right before death. Then he fought back and clawed out his own throat because of how hysterical he had become. Guys attacking him would have been surprised by that. It is possible that in such an abnormal environment, a person could perform acts that a sane individual couldn't possibly imagine. Of course, those are very rare cases. Actually, Oishi-kun, that wood plank the deceased used as a weapon, they only found sand and the paint from the guardrail on it. What about cloth fibers or skin? Nothing. The deceased didn't strike the assailants. Or could it be they took the plank he was fighting back with? In that case, they wouldn't have gone out of their way to replace it with another. They'd take them all. That's true. Tomitake's pretty built and tanned. He was quite an athletic. That's right. He was pretty active. Can't imagine what kind of sports he did when he was alive, but I think his physical strength would be on the higher side. It'd be difficult to overpower in a brawl. If a man with such a physique sensed he was in danger and swung the plank around quickly, it's just unthinkable that it would even nick the perpetrator. That it wouldn't even nick the perpetrator. And his opponent was unarmed. This guy had a wooden plank, so you'd think he'd hit him at least once. To surround and take down someone of this physique, I wonder how many people it would take. You dimwit, you should know better than anyone. Have you forgotten your bad cop days? If I was to take down this guy, how many would I need? When a group wants to take down big prey, it's fundamental to attack with numbers. I guess about 4? Even if there was a gap in their strength, they'd manage. And there were quite a few perpetrators. So any drunk and disorderly groups of more than 4 are suspicious. A group of 4 or more. Just if they had that many, then couldn't they have hidden the body in a less obvious location? Or did he somehow break away from that fatal predicament? And there would be no reason to commit suicide. Moreover, I still can't comprehend the irregular way he died. It's full of mysteries. That's under serious consideration on my end too. I'll be examining it as thoroughly as possible, but don't get your hopes up. After all, we've never encountered a death like this before. I'm not hoping for much, but I am looking forward to the results. Oishi-san, the chief is calling you. Thanks, see you around. Yeah. Best wishes. The search notice. Jiro Tomitake, deceased. Resided in a cheap hotel in Shishibone City. Registered under the name Jiro Tomitake. Pen name. Travels via folding bike. No license. The bicycle was found 300 meters away, abandoned at the side of the forest path. Present on the day of the festival, accompanied by the missing Mio Takano, was seen around 9 p.m. by police. Location afterwards unknown. Held residence in Hinamizawa for 1 week each season for the last 5 to 6 years. Freelance photographer, specializing in wild birds. Check with magazine companies. Nothing suspicious in the film located among the articles of the deceased. Wallet was among the articles of the deceased. Mere act of violence? From the contents of his wallet, he spent most of his time around Tokyo and Chiba. Along the Sobu National Railway line? No individual matching the name Jiro Tomitaki in the residency records of any Tokyo wards. Compare teeth to dental records, send to Metro Police, attach a photo, send to Metro Police. Contacting magazines regarding Jiro Tomitaki. Mio Takano, missing. Nurse at Iria Clinic. Became close to Tomitaki through her passion for wild bird photography. Resides in Okinomiya X District. Blank. X. Single. Witnessed accompanying Tomitaki on the festival grounds. Currently missing. Abducted? Maybe a suspect. An important person of interest. Had no motive to kill the deceased. Squabble from jealousy? No need. Need to thoroughly investigate the relationship. Place of work, etc. Need to get information from the police on scene again. I want some cream puffs. Or jumbo ones. Oishi. What? Alright. Gonna do it for this week. I will try my best to keep up with this. Anyway, see you on the next one.